Give me the highest praise. In the morning when I wake up, in the night when I wake up, I will lift up my voice to heaven and give you the highest praise. Hallelujah to my King. Hallelujah to my Father. Hallelujah to my Jesus. I bow before the throne. When I look at all the wonder and I see all the creation, the beauty of the universe, you never, never change. You never, never lie. You never, never change. You never, never change. Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Hey, hey. Hallelujah. Hey. Giving, hallelujah, the highest praise, hallelujah, giving the highest praise, hallelujah, giving the highest praise. I'm the praise, Jehovah, from the worship, Jehovah. You deserve the praise. I'm the praise. You deserve everything. Oh, the worshiping. Oh, you gave me life. I will praise His name. I'm here to praise my God, oh, because He gave me life. Come celebrate, come today, come and worship Him. He deserves the praise. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise. Hallelujah, giving, hallelujah, the higher praise. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise.
All right, good evening to welcome. I'm Alfonso Zia. So, hallelujah, given the higher praise. Welcome to this Wednesday open mic conversation. So, let us ongoing, keeping track of what is happening. We want to thank you so much for joining us, wherever you are. I'm right here, from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio 10 Lpr-Tv.
Lift up your voice and pray. Hallelujah. I lift up my life for Jesus. I will worship you, Yahweh, Yahweh.
Oh, yes, he's going to lay his life down for Yahweh. That's Liberian gospel artist Joseph Bass and K Praise making a contribution to right here on the Diaspora Informative News Network. Good evening, to welcome, ladies and foreign, and as usual, we take it from the real perspective where your analysis, your contribution, and your honest views and opinions can be expressed. However, the views or tweets here on the Liberia Public Radio does not in any way to represent the management and staff of LPR, but we do help to facilitate this hard call conversation for the good of the country. Hopefully, with the ultimate goal to finding many answers confronting our country that is so challenged politically, economically, and infrastructure-wise. But it's good to have a conversation. Yeah, Mike Zuckerberg, Facebook, a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, it was shut down and the whole world came to a standstill. So this guy, Medium, is a very effective one. And so the people that is being misused when it goes off like that, it gets to the throat of everybody. But welcome to the show. Let's get the ball rolling. All right, so let's see here. Good evening, and welcome. Hopefully, my guy gonna be here, Mr. Amos George. The liberal progressive is not gonna be here tonight, of course. When we're not around, then he's all over the place. He becomes the king of the lions. He becomes the man that in charge of the jungle. Okay, I'm going to be drawing your attention to something here, and of course, the interview by the former Minister of National Defense, former police chief, and Senator-elect of Lofa County, Brandon Samka. That was fascinating conversation that with the CEO of Spoon Network. But I also get a different perspective in terms of how he did that. But I also want to draw your attention. Sometimes it's good to go out other places and see the talking point, the conversation being created by other countries with their political discourse and see how we do it. All right. And to give us a sense of are we on track or do we need to do a little more step up to the game if we are to if people are to take out to be serious and the kind of type of advocacy that we think we are doing, we are channeling, or we are throwing out there, is it helpful to the country as well? Well, Channels Televisions is one of is Liberia premier's news outlet. I love that. I watch that because there are a lot of fascinating conversation. But when I look at the young folks, the young generations of today's society in Liberia, even the radio hosts, politicians, tech actors, and everybody inclusively, based talking about their country is quite a little bit different. Courtesy of Channel Television, there's a conversation on the way in Nigeria. And the media there, they have engaged different political actors, activists, advocates in different sectors of society in Nigeria. There's also a clause in their constitution that requires certain age in order to contest for higher posts of the land, the presidency. Now, the president of the Republic, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, has undone that. So that gives the way now to the young generations of Nigeria to begin to talk on this issue in a very severe context and how it's been viewed, how they see it, and how they want it to be. That is quite interesting as compared to Sao and all these sort of crazy thing that is ongoing in the country. Also been facilitated by politicians, people who wants to take political state power. They do not have the guts. So they both the government, they both the oppositions, everybody put everything in the basket and they do it in a different way as if we are still in the Manduva age, which of course is not. But I want you to look at the debate, the conversations by these Nigerians activists, community leaders, people from different backgrounds, and listen to their talking point and let us see ours, what we do here. It was quite amazing. Shehu is a former, is a veteran radio host of newscaster of Channels Television. Let me just bring in this. Our man Amos George is also here. And this was in commemoration of the independence of Nigeria when they have this year. Let's take a look. Courtesy of Channel Television to Nigeria. And I'm Alfonso Zian. So I'm going to bring in Amos George and we're going to have this conversation.
Saying that youth are the leaders of tomorrow is not applicable in Nigeria,
where 64% of Nigeria's approximately 200 million population have been forced to watch political events from the sideline. And that is why we bring that conversation to bear tonight. And that conversation, where the youth will have their say, begins now. Nigeria, let's get started with the conversation. I have a panel made up of young, vibrant Nigerians. Joining me, the CEO of Suji Moto, a real asset entrepreneur, Suji Bomi Ogundele. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. And followed by a member of the PDP, the lawyer Anthony Haley. Thank you so much, Anthony.
Thank you, Cheryl, for having me.
A very prominent Nigerian actor, Kate Henshaw. Thank you so much, Kate, for coming tonight.
Thanks, Cheryl. Hello, everyone.
Hamza Lawal is a CSO person, civil society person, the founder of Follow the Money. Thank you so much, Hamza, for coming.
Thank you, Sean.
Morimi Ojuju, very popular Nigerian activist, a member of the APC too. Thank you so much, Morimi, for coming.
Thank you for having me, Sean.
And the sponsor of the Not Too Young to Run bill, a former member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tony Nwulu. Thank you so much, Honorable, for coming.
Thank you for having me, Sean.
Let's get started. I think we should start from Mr. Sujimoto, Mr. Ogundele. The conversation will begin from, we've laid the premise on Nigeria and the young people. The question of leadership. Where did we get it wrong?
Thank you very much, Sean. For us to answer this question, we have to go back to not even before 1960 to 1958. From 1958 till date, Nigeria has earned over $600 billion in oil revenue. Between 1999 and today, Nigeria has borrowed over $25 billion. A capital injection of approximately 300 trillion naira. Do we look like 300 trillion naira has passed through us? Does our infrastructure, does our healthcare, and many other things, does it look like 300 trillion naira has passed through us? We must make those conscious decisions and address the issues of the past so that we can have a future tomorrow. If we refuse to do that, we will continue suffering these dividends of incompetence, and I strongly believe that the cost of leadership must not be that difficult.
Thank you. Anthony.
Where did we get it wrong? Well, I think this question is a question that, for a lot of years, we've asked ourselves this question. Did we get it wrong with our leadership? Did we also get it wrong with our followership? I think we got it wrong by just focusing on one area, which is the leadership. I think getting it wrong started from both parties not recognizing the role they need to play in the future Nigeria they needed to see. And we've forgotten that even at the very basic ward level, unit level of the country, there is leadership, there is followership. And we need to identify this particular niches of our specter of growth or our country and say, we all need to take responsibility, both as leaders and as followers. We all have a place where we all got it wrong. And agreeing to that is the first step to fixing whatever problems we have as a country today.
We are in this place today to look at where we get it wrong and how we can solve it, because I believe that some of the solutions of the Nigeria's problem is in this room. Kate, what do you feel?
We got it wrong when we stopped upholding the office of the citizen, which is the highest office in the land, where we took our eyes off the ball and we let things slide, for lack of a better word, where we stopped holding people accountable, including ourselves, stopped voting in the right people who care, who truly care about our human resources, our human capital, and the potential of this great country. That is where we got it wrong.
Hamza, do you agree?
Oh, yes, I do agree. We got it wrong because people in power became selfish. We stopped investing in people, and we thought that without investment, Nigeria could move forward. Our biggest asset are people. We got it wrong because everyone has put themselves first before Nigeria.
Okay, let's see
I will
here.
show you how you can make more than $10,000 every single month from this new online.
Let's see here.
That's it. Morimi.
I'll go with what Amsata just said. We stopped investing in people. We always put ourselves first. And unfortunately, our leaders have taken that path of them first before others. And unfortunately, that has really put us in a very bad light. And our value system, it became value system, greed, and a situation where we just lack focus.
Honorable Nwulu, you moved the motion, you sponsored the Not Too Young to Run bill. What was on your mind was where we got it wrong part of what was in your mind?
Well, I wouldn't say that was entirely what was in my mind, but to also address the inequality. Because for me, I believe that if you could vote, then you should also be voted for. It doesn't actually mean that probably at 18, you should go to the Senate, or at 20, you should go to the Senate. Both if you live in a community where at 20 you're the only one qualified to go to the Senate, then by all means you should go to the Senate. You know, I think it's a different thing from leadership.
Okay, Mr. Amos George is a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio analyst. Am I audible, Pa George? Let's see. I don't know what happened to your camera. Hopefully, you're going to join us. Okay, let me just get it off the screen. Once he's settled there, I'm going to bring him back for us to have this conversation. Make sure you look at your device. Okay, he went off, and we're going to bring it. Okay. That's the point I was trying to drive to get you. These are young people, young generation, entrepreneurial type, people of different background, actors, filmmakers, and all of that. I believe in the advocacy of democracy. But see their position, see where they're standing, see their conversations, actress, and all of that. They are talking about the future of their country. They are holding themselves accountable. They are not just only leaving it to politicians. They are arguing that elected officials must be held accountable of their actions, and even the voters who must be able to make conscious decisions. Because when we put these people there, we give our vote to them, and there must be something concrete or tangible in return. Now, and so it was a consequential question that they're asking, how they get it wrong. Okay, Mr. George is back with us here. Let me see here. Mr. George, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, much better. Okay. I don't know what went into your system yet now, but that's okay. But pretty well, you get a concept, you get a layout of the conversation. These are young Nigerians, young generation, people of different backgrounds, advocacies, actors, filmmaker, and all of those people. So let's flip the coin here. Where are we getting it wrong in Liberia? Those are the youth. See how they look like. Nobody throwing any sort of language uncomfortable. They're not saying any sort of throwing any sort of red meat out there, but they are giving, I believe, their honest opinions and views about their country. The other guy, the filmmaker, Tony, he's one of the built, sponsor one of the build. You know, there's an age clause in Nigeria. You got to be certain age to run. But now the president Buhari has undo that. So they can, you know, people you can run. You don't have to be a particular age. So what the young people are doing now, they are having a conversation in what is within the confines of modern civilization. They are debating issues. They are challenging one another. I don't know whether we have done that before. So where do we get it wrong to?
The same premise. I mean, we are part of the problem. We are being part of it also. So it's not just present leadership, but we have been part of it because we are not being focused on holding people accountable. Giving a state power, we are not done that. So we just grab people today and give them power because we say we like them. And so at the result, you see our infrastructure, the human capacity building, it's all just go through the drain. Look at what the other guy was saying. How many billion dollars has passed through that country? And nobody can show for it. Look at Liberia. How many billion dollars have passed through Liberia? And we can't account for anything. We cannot. So instead of now say, look, you know what happened? We have been down the path for a long time. Why now can we change the way we're doing things from the old way? Let us try to put in your measure. It's not there. And when I say we are part, look at the government today in Liberia. President Ellen Johnson said it was time for the generation change. And look, today the folks she brought in, that they brought the folk that took power. Look what is happening in the country. Maybe I might be wrong. If anybody in our government in the leadership, if they're more than 60 years old, then maybe I might be wrong. I might be, but most of the people who makes decisions in our country are between the age of maybe 45 or 50 something, right between there. But look where the country gone again. Because this should have been the opportunity to say, yes, young people are taking power and see the progress they're making. So I think we don't have to go back to the old system or just old men or women. But look at what happened today in our country. So, and that is part of the failure. So we cannot share.
So what I'm not hearing from you, you heard one of the speakers clearly, very crystal clear, fellowship. Fellowship, he's making direct or indirect, he's speaking to the tone of people follow people. And so that way they act. So they themselves, they are holding themselves accountable. Are we also doing that? And importantly, the conversation these young people, you see them having, dialoguing, exchanging their ideas in a different context. Is that a sort of kind of conversation that we having today for better Liberia?
No. Here's the saddest thing about this conversation. The people whom have been given the opportunity, the leaders, that is the activists, different groups, human rights, all these groups, you find 99% of them got a hidden agenda. They are not realistic. They are not being honest with the people that lead, the people that follow them. And because of that, these people tend to
unfortunately, the very people do not even question them. So everything comes out of them is believable.
That's what I'm coming to say now. And because of that, these people adopt the attitude of these people whom they look up to as leaders, because they are the one now who mentoring them, who giving them that direction. So, and they don't question these people. And that is the saddest thing in our society today. Because you, Mr. Soul, I'm following you. Everything you say, I say, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I do not ask Mr. Soul, why are you saying this? What would be the ramification if we do this? Why are you saying this? Give me an example. Why are you doing this? What would be the outcome if we go this route? We don't question these people. All they do, our leaders won't do it. Our leaders should do it. No. Question your leader. What is right to do so? Not because the leader say, no. Ask the leader. Let him explain why you should take that path. And if you're taking that path, what will be the outcome? What are the backup plan? No. What we hear is rain of insults. I disagree with you. I cannot sit down with you to talk. But what I do, because I say I can follow, then I rain insult on you. You say something about me. Okay. Do I have to rain insult on you to make my point, to get my point across? No. But today in our society, you that use the most vocal words, you are the champion. You that abuses people's mother, you are the champion. You that abuses people's parents, you that abuse your colleagues because they say something and you disagree with them, you now become the champion. You are not the hero today in Liberia. When you go around, so you see people cannot hardly discuss anything substantive about the country. Because when they gather, people say, oh, you're attacking my friend. You're attacking my leader. No. It's the idea that we should be debating, not these personalities. But Liberia is different. It's the personality we are discussing. It's not the idea what we want to profit forward to move the country forward. No. It's about the individual. And once you disagree with that individual, then of course, the wrath of that individual follower now come on you. And it's not supposed to be like that if we want to move Liberia forward. So I think it is now time those who are in the position leading these various groups, the activists, all the different organizations, it's now time to reshape this discussion, to recalibrate the discussion. It's not about cussing. Disagree with me, fine. Look, I can tell anybody, there are people I don't like. They are not doing anything to me about. And it's a human tendency. You see someone coming from something, they say, I can't deal with that person. But if we have to move the country forward, then we have to accept everybody's view and discuss it. It's not about that person, it's about the country. So, yeah, you and myself can disagree, but we can sit down, that we have something in common, we agree to discuss and move forward. But in Liberia, they know, once I disagree with you, I become enemy. The next thing you want to do now is to re-insult on you. You disagree with some other person, you re-insult on them. How can we move this country forward? What is the message for the younger generation? Look at the guys at the University of Liberia. Whole day, the chanting Bible cry. Why not put that energy into,
without even asking, not to interrupt you, without even asking when they are in a forum, they are in a gatherings, and whoever they consider as their mentor or whatever, saying anything, you never, very suddenly, you will see somebody to raise their finger. But as long as they find themselves glued to that person, be it the politicians or whoever the person is, there's nothing. Everything there is okay and everything else is fine. In order for us to realize, not in a longer lifespan, we see these people switching around, living from one institution, going to another institution. Nobody questioned it. Their authenticity is questionable because the left, they didn't fix what was spoiled. We don't know what they did. We open the door, we welcome them, we embrace them, we see them as people who want to give us victory, even though there are some damages being done on the other side. But however, with this conversation, considering seeing what our country is, would that narrative ever change?
I'm finding it very difficult to solve because this thing is like the trend is ticking. It's living from one generation going to another generation. This confrontational political activism that is going on in Liberia, that you have to be very confrontational.
Just let's take a look here. And let me just bring it.
Several other people that have refused to also join to see what they can do to correct those seeming anomaly that we've seen in the society.
So at some point we always say politics is dirty. That is a very popular language. And at what point did we discover that politics is dirty? Without politics, leadership and recruitment is almost impossible. So
okay, let me start this here. We have to make our people to learn. It's unfortunate, but we have to beat senses in the heads of the young generations and following these politicians, people they consider as their mentors, people they consider as their liberators for whatever way. Look at that stage. See where they are standing. Look at that stage. See the podiums or the podiums mounted of those people here. People of different backgrounds, actors, filmmaker, advocates of democracy, advocates of better society, advocates of young good governance. But see how they look like and see how they are positioned. I never saw that in recent times in the politics of our country, and to see our young people to gather themselves in a hall and I talk about the future of their country. Not at all. They don't do that.
No, it's not being done there because what I describe as this political being politically combative is the kind of thing now the country is engaged that when you're not combative, then you are not somebody. But yeah, these people you're standing on stage. I know all these people come from different backgrounds. They all don't believe. I know they all believe in one Nigeria, where with different ideas, but at the end of the day, they want to arrive, they all want to arrive at the same point. But you see, those people dominion, you see how intelligent. Nobody there is going after anybody. They are all saying, hey, we are all being part of this problem. What we're looking for now is solution. How can we move this country forward? That is the discussion they're having. They are not just shifting blame on the past. No, they say we all have been part of it because we are all leaders in our different communities. Somebody in that community, people listening to, and they fail to inform those people. They misled them. Oh, this guy is the best person. They misled them, misinformed them, and they took the decision. So you cannot divorce yourself that, oh, I'm not part of the problem. No, you are part of the problem because you convince people to follow you, to take decision. And you didn't, they too did not ask you the real question, the tough question. They too did not ask you. So you see, it's both ways. Everybody responsible for where the country is going today. But we tend to shape it just on one group of people and taking ourselves out. Which
Okay. Hold on one second. As usual, you know, we always accommodate our voices here. Let me bring in this number here, 612 number 0274. Caller, good evening. Are you there, caller? 612 number, are you there? Oh, let me see. I don't know why. Okay, they will call back here. Go ahead. Let me see. Hold on. Let me just, I see this person been calling here. The phone was, let me just try then. Hello, caller? I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, go ahead, Pa Josh.
Take for example, you go to the village, you come from Morocco. Everybody in the village look up to you. That's someone you have achieved something, you go into the village.
Okay, let me see here. Hold on one second. Hello, caller? Caller, are you there? What's going on with this? Hello, caller, are you there? Well, you need to check your system. Go ahead.
Yeah. Take for example, you go to the village. You convince the people that this man I brought to you, this is man. People, I'm asking to vote for him. And the villagers do not answer any question. Why? They say, oh, this is our son. So anything he say, he's right. He's our interest. But instead of asking the son, where you know this man from? What is this man's character? What guarantee that we have that if we put this man in power, he will look after us? He will look after the villager. Don't ask that question, but it is their son. So it go along with that.
Okay. Hello, caller? So, wait a minute. What's going on here? I'm not getting anybody now. That's the second point. Hello? What am I not doing here? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there, Franco. You hearing me?
Yeah, much better. Yeah, go ahead.
Listen, Pa Josh, you are right. This is burden until our people, we ourselves, and our people can stop listening to people without no vision, and our people can stop collecting bribe, Liberian or Liberia will be developed. I listen to those guys debate. It is very, very fantastic. It's like we're not doing similar things in Liberia. We're cursing one another every day. Until, brother, so our minds can be developed. That when you go somewhere, you just go with your best thing. and tell the people, say, this is what I want to do for Nima County, for example. I'm from Nima. If I'm going to Nima to seek for political office, I should tell the people what I want to do. Because if the people expect money from me, if I gave you the money, what happened? I can do anything because I didn't buy my vote from you people. Like in Nima County, since 1963-64, the incursions of Nima, Sanikori wasn't a headquarters for Nima County. It was secretly the center of Nima. But because of our people way back, Lanko were right close to Sanikoli. They made Sanikoli city for Nima instead of secretly.
Elvis, try calling back. Elvis, try calling back again. I think he's on. Yeah, go ahead. So I'll go to the next question.
If I'm going to Liberia, like I'm planning to go and tell my people, like in America, I will tell you strictly my platform. I will introduce my platform to my people. I will tell them exactly if I'm elected as whosoever that I want to be.
So okay, buddy. Yeah. Quickly here, other people here. Let's do here. So, what do you think you yourself as a citizen, including myself, all of us are responsible? And most of the time, all of us, we do not have the courage to become to show that sort of results in the sense that I don't think I have done my country well. It doesn't matter who is there today, who's going to be there tomorrow, because we're going to always see people coming, people going. So let's make ourselves here a little bit. Do you think you've been doing a disservice to your country as well?
Yes. You know what? I don't put myself first. For typical example, Alfonso, I am making my little coffee or cocoa farm. I have 35 employees. I certify my employees, then certify myself. Okay. For example, if my employees tell me, say, Chief, today we know that things are rough, I will give them something for them to be certified.
No, I'm trying to take a I'm trying to take a holistic approach. So I'll go to the number 612 number.
So for this reason, we are not doing better for our people. You know, Pat Josh always say this thing. We are not very up to our people. We put ourselves first instead of putting our people ahead.
Okay.
Let me not take long. Let me leave. Maybe when I'm listening to the to the discussion tonight, I might call back contribute. We are not doing something good for our people. We just want our own pocket to be full before we return to our people.
All right.
This is the problem.
Okay. And I mean, I've said here, nobody advocating. I get my own mouth is why I can talk for myself. All of these people who talking here and I'm doing this for the Liberian people, they are doing it for themselves. It's all about their bellet and people that will be within their close proximity tomorrow. They're not doing anything for me. 612 number 0274. Are you there?
I'm here, Mr. So. Can you hear me?
Yeah, much better, loud and clear. Is that Elvis?
This is me. Yeah, this is Elvis.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick contribution to your show tonight. You know, I was looking at the debate that you had with the Nigerians, you know, young people. I myself, I'm just 30, so I guess I'm still pretty young. Quick, just before I get into my comment, I can give you a suggestion, you know, and I'll be willing to participate in that discussion. If you would like to host a group of young people on your panel to talk about things concerning Liberia,
I would love to do that.
I would definitely want to see that, you know, happening on your platform. You do it, and I want to let you know this. I'm sure you know this, but you do have a platform that reaches a lot of Liberians. And for me, as a young person, I'm sure that many other young people who engage in your platform would like to see something similar to what they had, whether it's over a video conference call. I definitely would be willing to participate, or even just to view it. So if you would like to put something together like that for the young people here or back home, that would be great.
I think I would do it. I think it's a very good suggestion. We've been looking forward to that, but it's something, and I'm quite sure a lot of people will be willing to come. We'll do it to commensurate with the time in Liberia. Maybe get some other people in Liberia. They're not all Liberians. There are other Liberians who really want to have an authentic conversation, but because of this sort of a house of ground that we have had, we have right now, a lot of the bad things overshadow the good ones. So as the result, it just kind of is challenging. I won't say it, but we're not give up, but it becomes a challenge to the media world as well.
Yeah, and then to get into my main comments, for example, I'll just put this little caveat out there. If you ask many Liberians, our young people in Liberia today between the age of 18 and 25, what kind of democracy do we have? You know, some of us who have been privileged to live on this side and went to school and did, you know, civics and was able to be conscientized on this side of the earth, we understand there are two different kinds of democracy. We have an indirect democracy. What does that mean? That means you have a representative form of democracy. You send people there to represent your interests. Most people don't even understand what that means, for example. Meaning that those people that you send there, you have to put the fire to their butts to do what you want them to do. They have to come back to you and have town halls, you know, quite frequently, maybe every quarter. There's a lot of things that our young people don't understand, let alone our older folks in the country. So when it comes to comparing our democracy to something like America or even Ghana, we're still primitive in our thinking in the way that we practice democracy. And I think having that debate or having that conversation and making it something of a regular occurrence for young people to get engaged and conscientized in our citizenry in Liberia and here in the diaspora, that would do a great deal for the young people. And even other platforms, you have friends, I'm sure, who host their own shows. You can encourage them to have certain, you know, similar debates for young people, or even just conversations. So those things are something that definitely needs to happen. So when it comes to Nigeria, Nigeria is a whole basket case. You know, I really took interest in Nigeria. It's a country that has over 200 ethnic groups. You know, a conglomeration of different tribes, different religions, you know, different people who have different beliefs. And it's a country that really shouldn't have existed. And many Nigerians will tell you that. So it's a very, very complicated situation when it comes to Nigeria. So that I will leave that out of it. Liberia at least only have at least 15 tribes, but really we only have 4 tribes in Liberia. If you look at the relative, you know, how our tribes from the southeast and the people from, you know, from North how they're related, that's a whole other story. But I think if we can put that together, Mr. Stowe, I'll be very much looking forward to it. That's just my quick contribution. I'll take my answer off the line. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Elvis, okay, I think he's gone, but let me just say here, I think your question the last time, he asked a very consequential question, and I said, well, it was like a boom in the throat question regarding the late Nyeswa, and that question was answered during the weekend. But Papa George, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think this is something we need to work on here as well, right here at LPR. You heard a guy saying fellowship. Our people, they follow. They always allow themselves to be like a donkey. People should ride on them. I'm not going to be one of those donkeys in the country. I got to come throw my bike and somebody think they're just going to walk. I had a say, use my bag to get to wherever they want to get without asking. That has been the problem, and that it is the challenge. And there's no indication that that is going away right now.
Let me give you a typical example. I come to you, Mr. So, yes, I'm talking. I want to raise this money. Help me to get to this power. I want this power, you help me. Raise the money and give it to you. And you're giving me that money. After whatever the money was intended for, I do not give you people a comprehensive report of the funds that were given to me for a particular purpose. I do not give a comprehensive report. And the people who contribute that money,
it's okay with them. Whatever people may report, that's the amazing thing.
They were supposed to now check on that leader. They say, oh, you need a man.
We believe in the man. We trust the man.
How now? Can you tell the younger generation about accountability when you don't want to question your own leader? Hey, we understand, but this fund came from different people. For transparency, we want to report how the money was used, how the fund was disbursed, so we can put it out there. So the next time, if anybody coming to do this, they will say, hey, when these people get you 1 cent, you have to account for it. You have to make it public to them. So the other people will be encouraged to invest in those who want to go in that area to expire what a political offer, nothing. But everything, we say, oh no, you leave it. The man made a sacrifice. That's using people. And both sides contribute towards it because the one who receiving the money don't have the way to say, no, what happened? These are people funds they gave me. Even though I said they gave me willingly, but I must be accountable to them. So let me make a record to show them, no, the receiver will not do it. And the giver too will not go back to them, to the receiver and say, hey, yeah, we gave it for the purpose. But where the receipt? How the phone were you? Both parties said that. That's why you see they were making sure that we all are guilty of this problem in the country. Another issue here, debating the issue. Let me take you back when look at that, this one debate Senator Dillon and Thomas Fowler had in Liberia. What? Tell me.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me pick up the number here and I'll come right back to you. Go call out 279 number. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good evening. What's your name and where you calling from?
Yes, brother, this is Emmanuel Jackson. I'm calling from Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay, from the liberal state, Mr. Jackson. Good evening. Welcome.
Yeah. You know, my view about us, Liberia, is very simple. I think what we're driven by sectionalism. If you look at in the diaspora, apart from EULA, all the subdivisions, they have organizations that functions under their own jurisdiction. They don't, you know, look at a synergistic approach that we should work together as Liberia apart from EULA. For example, you know, the issue of lobbying abroad to assist the country, you know, it's not done in a collaborative way. And I think this is affecting us. You know, since the war years, since we came out of the war, we have not had a solid Liberian organization where all of us can come together.
My dear brother Jackson, we are corrupt. The people here, they are corrupt more than people that are in Liberia. See how these organizations are all fragmented. It's just so bad.
Yeah. And just, you know, just for example, I mean, going back 20 years ago, here in Boston, we had a Liberian organization. We raised about $8,000 in our organization to get a community center. That money just blew out in the breeze. I don't want to call names.
Why you don't want to call names? This is not a social. This is not a poor or Sunday society. We need to bring these people. That's you. Jackson, don't do this to me. You are also helping to facilitate bad doings in society.
No. What happened is one of the person who ran the organization, they passed away. You know, and I want to respect them because they passed away. You know, and I think raising the name will not resolve.
Okay. Then I thought the living stay around will try to shield them.
The person passed away, but I mean, we did soccer matches, we did fundraising, we did Queen Contact program. We raised the money to buy a community center. And we did not do, I mean, the top brass of the organization just blew the funds away. Up until today, we don't have a Liberian community center in Boston.
So now, rhetorically, let me just ask you, when we have these kind of people here, Mr. Jackson, that are saying, they said they're doing pro bono work here, but they are waiting to go in government and think they can have good governance system. Can you trust and believe in these people? See what they are doing right before our own eyes, right before our own feet, the way they are behaving, the way they are talking, the way they are doing things. They don't want to be held liable. They don't even want to make their financial report. We poke in the eyes of the government. Eventually, these people leave from here to go and contest for major state power, and we give it to them. And at the end of the day, the same thing they did here, a sleeping man is just a sleeping man. It doesn't matter where they go. They will sleep too. They do the same thing.
Just before you conclude, right after the war years, when Ellen started camping, Ellen came to Boston, and some of those very individuals left and went and joined the government in Liberia in 2005 and 6, and they performed dismally. Some of them even had to come back to the state.
All right.
You know,
Thank you.
I mean, it's very sad, brother. So it's very sad. We just can't.
I'm
follow
telling
up
you,
to the
all
end.
of these people that are acting like a little chihuahua, all here, they profess to be an advocate. This one not doing this, they one not doing that. Send them to be chief security or LPRC tomorrow. They will sell more than 3 tankers of gasoline or petroleum products overnight because they feel that that's the place they want to go and get rich.
I mean, it's hurting the country. It's hurting the country basically.
Okay, let me go to the next caller. Thank you so much, buddy.
Okay, brother. So, all right.
Okay, let me bring in other Papa Joy. Just hold on here. Let's bring our man. Come on, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing, sir?
Good, man. I want to see you mounted on the podium for us to start having this sort of conversation. We are not doing it. We all believe we are driving in fellowship. So much in love with people that we see as maybe spiritual leader, or they are so perfect. Nothing about them is wrong. But you listen to the debate, the young generation, these people, actors, filmmakers, advocates of democracy, they position themselves in the hall and arguing and telling the government, telling their government, holding themselves accountable of some of their engagement. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And how you doing, by Josh? I hope you're okay.
Yeah.
Well, when I tune in, the video that you talk about was already at the end, so I didn't really get a clearer picture of it. But from what you guys talk about, first of all, I want to say our school system are failing us in a particular area. The young people, especially from, let's say, 6th grade, those are in the 6th grade class, the younger people, they should start bringing them up in debate, listening to their conversation, their view on how they see Liberia and what's their vision, their plan. I mean, when they start doing it from elementary, from 6th grade, junior high, and then up to senior high level, and then you see how people's mind will start changing, especially young people. But it's not happening. I don't know if they're doing it, but I don't think it's happening now. Okay. Because from the school system, you see children start to understand the function of government and the role of citizens in government. You understand? And they will start looking at how citizens can participate in developing the country and how they should understand what is corruption, because there are so many definitions of corruption now. Like, for example, the last quarter, he mentioned about the organization raising $8,000 and it just vanished in thin air. I want to believe people within that organization, closer to those people who were in authority, knew about the money and how it vanished, but nobody asked questions and nobody pressed on it, and there was no investigation, and everybody just let it go free. And those who ate the money still within and said, yes, we are busted. Nobody can question us. And now people refuse to even call them names, even if they are there. And they were
coming to you.
Whatever happened, people should be named. People should be named. That's the only way we'll get rid of the practice of corruption, whatever. Because in Liberia, from the church, the mosque, the school, everything in the family. I gave you a case study. For me, you will send something back home to your family. You understand? And even to appreciate you, to say, oh, thank you for what you did, is very difficult. It's very, very difficult. Somebody will leave from Liberia, coming to the U.S., even for somebody to even take a piece of paper and say, let me write a note of gratitude and put maybe a little beef, African beef in it, and say, carry to this person for me. It's very difficult. So because of that, the society is just like everybody just corrupt to the extent that nobody wants to face the reality. That's what happened in our country. So even people who come from America here, go back abroad to say they won't be in government, they carry the same attitude. For example, before I leave the land, the man driving in the US here, you will see the stop sign in the community. He will slow down, he will stop. But the moment that particular individual enters Liberia, he sees the same stop sign that he saw in the US here. He will stop, you will even pass. And if there will be means for him to even overtake, he will do it. And nobody's saying nothing about it. It's just going to go on.
Including yourself, what I say. When these things happen, the people we turn around to protect the people. Okay, thank you so much, Mackie.
So lastly, we have to need people when people do wrong, when we know they are stolen from us, we have to need them and not to cover it up. Cover it up and spoil the whole thing.
Okay, thank you so much.
Understand?
Okay, let me go to the next caller. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so good evening. Welcome, Mose.
How you doing, my brother Apostle? This is Moses.
Yeah, Moses. Welcome from Wilmington to Delaware.
It has been a while.
Yeah, I know. So, man, you get a very huge background. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I occasionally listen to the show, and today I think the conversation is very important. And when you talk about accountability, and I've been listening to previous speakers and giving their own, insight about, the issues that they think we're faced with. Let me just mention that, I went to Liberia 2013 and 2021, and I can tell you, most people that you consider in Liberia that are adults or working for the government are compromised. Compromised in the sense that everybody owes someone a favor and it's like debt. And the previous speaker that just spoke, mentioned something about people being gratifying when you even take your hard-earned money and send it to them. Liberia has turned, the culture there has turned into the people being just beggars. They beg for everything and don't get anything back. They always want to receive, and that's the sentiment that they have. Let me just give you, a little bit of background. And I'm a person who accountability is very important. You know me from Rhode Island. When we were in the administration at the time in Rhode Island, just at Foster, there was a big issue with acquiring our own facilities. The administration that I served in 1997 through 2000 raised over $10,000 and put that in an escrow account only for a building fund. It took the Dr. Matok Bambai to go take that money from in that account and sue the very Liberian people, the Liberian organization, in court because they were running their organization as they saw fit for themselves, totally against the Liberian community. You in Rhode Island right now, that community that used to be so vibrant and people talked about outside of Liberia, even outside of Rhode Island, all over the United States, and said the organization was so structured back in the day in Rhode Island, today non-existent because of those precedents set by a very few. And I can tell you that right after that, there's at least 6 or 7 individuals from that very same tenure of office in Rhode Island that went to Liberia and served in critical positions. The Department of Education, the Port Authority, Department of Education in Liberia, Deputy Minister, and the Port Authority, and they have friends in the Ministry of Finance, and those guys went down there and squandered. Did the very same thing that they did in Rhode Island that destroyed the community. And those are the people. And there were people who stood up. A reverend stood up and wrote Evan Justice Center a personal letter and told them, if you really need welfare Liberian people, you would not employ these individuals. And it was ignored. So people have stood up to some of these individuals. People have stood up in the past. And when we talk about this splendid group we have, every county, every demographic in Liberia having their own personal organization, schools organization, I can tell you that last very successful rally that was held in Washington, D.C. was June 30th, 1998, where we organized under the Liberian Fairness Act. There were at least 25 to 30,000 Liberians that assembled from all walks of life in the United States. And that rally was effective. And until Liberian people come together and rise up, our country will continue to be in the position it's in today. Here in the diaspora can come together, as one of the previous speaker alluded to. We can come together and start to advocate and create the grounds for accountability of the people in Liberia, but we have to be true to ourselves first before we can do that.
All right.
So I don't want to monopolize.
Yeah, I'm about.
I'll stop there for now.
Okay. All right. I'm about to shoot a video here, and considering knowing you and knowing your background, I want you to listen to it, and then if you have the time, just in case time's still in your favor, I want you to call back. But I'm about to play a special video because I was asked this question just last week. And I told the caller, I don't have to hide a name, Elvis, he one of the callers here, he asked a very crucial question. And I found myself like a bone in my throat because I'm not the right person to answer that question. But goodly for me, that question was answered during this weekend. So I'm going to play this video. If you are still watching, I want you to look at it. I will ask Pat George,
I'm gonna watch it right now.
And we're going to have
a
conversation.
Disconnect and watch the video, and I'll call you.
Yeah, I'm going to play it right now on the screen. And then Elvis, and I think you asked that question the other day, and I'm about to play it. This is open mic, so we're going to pull the last all over. Let's go to this.
We've been asking them silently. Our voice will continue to be loud because God knows. Whether it's in the darkness or in the night or in the day, God sees. And He saw you. You know what you did. But we are calling for justice. Every week, I ask the justice minister, where is the case? And I continue to call the people. Those are doing government. You know me and I know you. If you are friends of Batin, you've been quiet for almost 1 year. No one has said anything. And we are waiting. We need closure. My kids wake up every morning. But the God of the mountain is the God of heaven. And we know that the God in the night is still God in the day. What is done in darkness will still come to light. The day of judgment is coming for all of us. I think it was a sweet soul. He calmed over. He inspired a lot of people. You heard a lot of things. Before I come here with my family, we want to say thank you for coming. We want to say thank you for just taking your time out to call us. To call us, to say some prayer for us. We will not let this legacy die. Before I come here with this for our family, we are going to be launching a foundation in His honor, and I will work diligently every day and every night. I will continue to seek justice because justice denied is justice delayed. We want justice for our kids. And you know what I'm talking about, you people who are quiet. Somebody said the government are people bribe Rebecca. How much money do they have? They can bribe me and my family too. That they can bribe my lifetime. Let it be loud and clear. God is watching. If people are in quiet places, if you saw something, say something. Because there are secret things like you are everywhere. People lie on the street. But you know, if you are part of it, and you know you are part of it, God is watching you. Your day of reckoning is coming. I will continue to ask you, like, when people in the classroom, you know the lady in the Bible that went to the judge every day and said, Judge, give me justice. I am going to be that lady. And I'm going to ask you that bring God every day. I got to tell you what I'm talking about. That they will give me justice. Let me tell you, somebody said, Kulumba, right? Kulumba, you know what you do. And the person told me, that Kulumba, there was not good internet. We didn't have phones in our here. And people phone Kulumba under the tree, or in the bus, or whatever. We have satellites. We have everything like you. And the government has not told me what happened to us. I need answers. I need answers, I get closure. Yes. So if you know something, say something. And people are mute. Why are they mute? Only God knows. And I'm asking, we need closure, and we'll continue to honor His legacy. So
So no, nor should they end up Baptist Endowment Foundation because it was a light. He tried to enlighten every soul that came his way. That foundation will be spearheaded by us and will.
Okay, Mr. Joyce.
Yeah.
Okay, let me move her here. Last week, I don't think you were here. Elvis, one of the callers, he called here last week. He asked this sort of question to the extent that I was stuck because I just do not have an answer. And, also, we don't appease our listeners, our viewers, to say things ridiculously or to say things that we can't justify, that we do not have evidence for us to back our talking point because we want to entice or want people to listen. They say, no, that's not our tradition here. But this whole thing came to a settlement this gone weekend. We covered the memorial of the late internet auditor Emmanuel Batent Nyenswa, that his wife Rebecca speaking at the memorial ceremony. Earlier, the president of the University Student Union here at Melvin Howell, who happens to be in law, they all went to Liberia. Now, he died, I believe, October 10 to 2020. Today is what? Pretty close to a year now. I have asked for interview and, for us to have this sort of conversation, but they have been doing everything. But you listen to her. The picture that I just posted up here, that's Nyenswa son. That's my son when they graduated. When we went to the school, I could not look into that boy's eyes. And when my sons start, they say they kill people in Liberia. They do this. Why they did this to my friend died? Now, that is horrible. And this lady now, we now know that since the last year up to this time, she calling on the government because she's also the kids will ask her question. The kid needs answer. And you're hearing, oh yeah, she need a closure. Closure, that is to tell her exactly, precisely what happens. This guy have all of the cameras and different stuff in his place. And this, according to her, they have talked after like a 1 hour when Melvin Howard received a call of his passing. And up to this point in time, nothing. Nobody's been I learned somebody was apprehended, how that went, where that go. But you listen to her. That's the video now. Now we have a talking point now that nothing is being heard, and she's calling for a closure for this case. What are we hearing?
Look, Mr. So, and this is why sometimes some of us come to say something, and people say we don't like this person, we don't like this person. And it's not about individual. When you are put in charge to run any institution.
I've been calling, by the way, I've been calling Serena Seaforth the Solicitor General because now I have a talking point. I know where my question going to come from. I know how it's going to be going, and I know how to respond because this is we can only delete this. It's on the page. Nobody else can delete that. To ask, but I'm still waiting patiently to answer my call. Go ahead.
Yeah, they will tell you say they're investigating. But Mr. So I can tell you some of the murder cases in Liberia, the late child can solve that case. You heard of Mosin, they have almost a satellite in the yard, cameras.
I've been to that house. I know that.
All the people that were dead, someone took the man to the hospital. Where was that person coming from? What were they doing? I mean, and the government cannot tell you anything. What happened to all the people that they say that should have been interrogated? What happened to all those people? They just go down. And yet one scene calling their friends. Now, if this man were working in the government and people, some of the people are friends working in the government, they have authority. What are they doing? 1 year now, they cannot even call out one to say, you know what happened? This is where we stand on this case. That is to show you the society today we have. The society we have. And I always say this thing here. You will never experience this kind of thing until it happened to you. Many times, someone will come and talk about other people's issues. Other people don't say anything. And Mr. Bro, you know my story. And I say, every time I ask myself nowadays, if you are in your house in Liberia, you are not safe in your house. Where else can you be safe in Liberia? Because if you're in the street, you're in the club.
So let's do that before we clean it. Are you there, Joyce?
Yeah.
Okay, let's listen to this other one here. This speaker, Mr. Melvin Howard, who also traveled with the family because he's married to the older sister of Rebecca.
So all former students and graduates in the University of Liberia, please stand as we begin the respect of our It is a heavy task for me as a colleague, a friend, and a brother-in-law to stay here and do what I'm doing. The late Honorable Martin Emmanuel Biswa was not an ordinary member of the association. He was an active financial supporter of our beloved Alumni Association. Mr. Yuswa attended the University of Liberia, where he met his darling wife. During that time, he also played an important part in the student leadership.
Let me just say here quick.
Since the that friends that today run the show as government, they all be quiet and mute. They are not forgotten about. Since the that, nothing can be said of him. But again, was it to this one? Take heart. Especially because I work around the world, like Europe, Canada, and America, how we do. Until we see our family on that side. May the soul and the soul of all our faithful partners peace and life of lasting child. Thank you.
Okay. If you are going back to listen to the whole thing, he first let it out. And what he said when I went to Liberia, he said that he strongly believes he was murdered. Now, his statement has been validated by the web that they have not heard anything. Nothing has been said to them, to the family, to say, this is what from investigation, this is what. I know there was somebody present for interest, apparently from that event. We learned initially with the police investigation, but up to this time, going to a 1 year now. I know investigation takes years and years, but come on, give me a break. They should have a sense of what is happening by now. And that's why the lady is calling for the closure. Make a final statement, and then we're going to do quickly in a few seconds. Samukat, Senator-elect Samukat interview before we go.
Yeah, but Mr. So, this is what I'm saying. How big is Liberia? How big is Monrovia? That kind of crime will happen in Monrovia. And the government cannot solve that kind of crime in Monrovia. It's mind-boggling. And look at what the young man is saying. That all his friends have been silent. The people that allegedly said they were his friends, all of them have been silent, and all of them are in government. That speaks volume about us. It speaks volume about us. So it raises eyebrow to tell people who you associate with, who you think are your friends. You have to be very careful in Liberia today, because when these things happen, I mean, it's just a week, it just died down. Now, look at that woman. The question that she will always have to explain to those children the circumstances of running their father's death. She cannot explain it. She got no answer. So this is something that those children will have to carry with them for the rest of their life. But yet, boy, you got a system that don't even care, I would say. Because they say, oh, we're investigating. Come on, man. Liberia, those days, a crime happened like that. I gave you 1 week time, they will find some people in Morocco those days. Those days, they will find people. I remember so one Fula man. Yeah, that was during Soya time. They killed that Fula man, put the man to a barrel.
But even this guy who threw out this sort of women after messages out here, he was apprehended. It didn't take me a time. What's about somebody taking hold of him on live and nobody?
They killed a guy, put a man in a barrel. They were carrying a barrel, the body to dispose it in a barrel. The police got an info tape. They were able to arrest the culprit in Morocco. This man was someone permanent, not just, I'm not saying ordinary person life not important, but this man was someone permanent. In your house, got killed there. And later got killed because they say he died or whatever. But got killed in your house. Video camera, the video, all the things in the yard. All the people that were there. Less than 1 hour, the police today cannot find one person that will lead to them. Come on, man. Something is wrong with our country. And that's why I see now, I tell people, I say, look, there's nowhere safe in Liberia. Because you're in your house, they can kill you in your house. So what you talk about this?
Let me get Moses here. Moses got an expertise in this area here. Moses.
Hey.
I'm sorry to do this, what I did yeah, but I always like to type into the expertise of people who can say it or who can interpret it better, not a guess game, so that you know. But that's Rebecca. You know her here. You've been in Roland. You know Batenta Nyenswat. We all been pondering, wondering, trying to guess, doing second guess what's going on, what is happening now. But we now know this lady is saying she needs a closure for the death of her husband. She's not getting the answer. You, with your background, without going into detail, you listen to what she said.
Yeah, and it's disheartening to have heard about my brother's death, and you know, professionally, and just putting that aside, the personal side to it. Just putting that aside, my brother. This country is still a country recovering of civil conflict. 80% of the people in that country experience total sense of anarchy. And let's also take into account that after the death of Yosua, there were a few other deaths from the same department he worked in. So from an investigative perspective, how do you go about investigating that when you have a government that have not the capacity to do that, when it comes to logistical capacity, when it comes to manpower, when it comes to training, in investigating those kind of matters? And that, in fact, the accountability piece of it has to be at the level of higher authority when it comes to accountability. There were many other deaths before this one that was never investigated. So for me, when I went home, you got the document that I put together and I sent to you maybe at least over a year ago, as far as the reform of the security sector and what have you. We know that in 2011, the United Nations wrote this report and said Liberia State had now reached the capacity of self-security. Even with the drawback of ECOWAS, Liberia was not even close to self-security. And we know that moving forward, since Ellen left the government, that we stayed fine. In fact, it has become worse than it was during Ellen administration. At least you had the presence of ECOWAS. When you took ex-combatants and put them in the security forces right after a civil conflict, and gave them the authority to be security and to create civic engagement in the country, then that's where the foundation is. And these people are totally not trained enough to even investigate the matter. Not to mention the kind of corrupt and overlooked by the government, and the kind of that's what I say in my first presentation, that everyone is compromised. The first person to stand up and say something, because you're compromised, you owe everybody, you're going to be putting everybody out there, and they're going to come after you. So we saw that, after Yuswa's demise, after his death, there were other people that died from his office. And those people still have not. There have not been any investigation. And I feel sorry for Rebecca and the kids, because you can't put a closure on something like this, because nothing that to do would bring Yuswa back to life. Nothing. Nothing that to do would bring Yuswa back to life. Even if they identify anyone of committed a crime. We saw in the March 30th report, we saw that the judicial system was mentioned in there that it's not even worth a third world country judiciary. It's not even equipped when judges are prosecuting people without arraignment or public defendant, and still sentencing them to jail and probation, when the probation system is so not existing, non-existent at all. Okay. These are things that creates these kind of atmosphere for non-investigation, and that the government cannot stand up and say we're going to investigate because they don't have the tools to do it. Simple as that. And we pray that these people will somewhat, keep remembering of our brother, and let his remembrance before he passed be a blessing to him, to his wife and his children, and to us who knew him. Because he was an easygoing guy in Rhode Island. He came in, went to school steady, and went back to contribute to the country. And he was a steadfast gentleman, from what I know in my interaction with him. So I pray that he rests in peace. But again, if we're looking for closure, Rebecca, I want to say to you, if you listen to this broadcast, my sister, it's going to be difficult for you to get a closure. It's going to be difficult, because nothing you would do, and nothing the sitting government can do now to do anything to bring it back. And there will not be a closure, even if if someone want to arrest them. It's still not a closure.
All right. Okay, Mose, I want to thank you so much for your expertise. I just thought to have your take on this whole thing.
Thank you.
All right.
My brother.
Okay, there we have it. Let's just do here in the next 5 minutes. We'll go. I listened to. Did you listen to the interview of Senator-elect Samuka?
Yeah, I listened to a portion of it.
Let's just give you a highlight. I took time and I read it. I listened to it, and that was quite fascinating.
I leave it to them. And they contract the decision, I leave it to them.
I want you to expand on that, sir.
Yeah.
If the court ruled against you, finally, that you cannot take that seat, and the seat is open, because we are seeing and we are hearing that a lot of other Ruffians are signing, they want to make the seat vacant, that they can have some election people coming. Listen, it's out there. What say you to that? That they are going to make the seat vacant, and they will rule against you because.
Okay, let me stop there and go to our caller yet. We'll soon be here. Caller, are you there? 612? Are you there? Oh, I'm not sure why he.
You getting me?
Yeah, I'm getting you. Go ahead now. Go ahead quickly.
Yeah, it's Elvis again. I just want to tell you thank you again for your tipping and presenting that program to your audience. I just want to remind you quickly again, you have a platform, and these are some of the things that building a good platform is good for, is to bring awareness to a situation where people feel voiceless and they feel fightless, like nobody's fighting for them. And I'm glad you did this, and it's really a good thing that you did in his honor. But just to make a quick comment, in Liberia, do we have a witness, a whistleblower protection program like we have here in the United States?
There's a law.
It's a serious question. I know you're laughing, but it's a serious question because you saw during Donald Trump impeachment that guy who was supposed to be there. The guy was scared, and we're talking about America. The minister was scared to even come forward. We have a whistleblower. Are they going to be protected after they come and blow the whistle? And another thing I would say, this might be far-fetched, but the lady needs to sue the government civilly. If you can't, sometimes when you can't bring criminal prosecution against people who you feel like did wrong to you, you got to sue them civilly to the ECOWAS court. I know they don't pay up the deadbeat government, but she has to go take some action on her husband's behalf and sue the government. That's my only advice I can give to her now. Thank you again, Mr. So.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's see this here quickly here. All right.
Is that the phone, though?
The good thing is
the Constitution is a remedy to these kind of
Okay, let's put cap on this thing here quickly here. Mr. George, are you there?
Yeah.
This interview, when you listen to a skillful politician, a skillful administrator, that's who Samuka is. So what Samuka have done, he's a guy who believes in, regardless of what happened, he did not to the extent demonize whoever investigated him, what he did, and this and that. He laid out the conditions and argued the point that he believes in the justice system. He believes it, even though he does not agree with their verdict, but he believes in a system that the system is right. So what he has done in the case, I don't know whether his people in your column they're going to agree with him or not, but he was very much civil into the conversation. He brought some closeness to that of the president, to the extent that how the president calls him and that the president knows him. He even extended a birthday greetings to the president. But you also understand fully well, this thing here there is nothing that he can do about it because the law already factored in. However, he took it out of himself and put it on one person, and that only person, if you listen to the entirety of the whole interview, is the president of the Republic of Liberia, where the president, because that's the only way people who are arguing, oh, the president can do that. No, the president don't just get and do that. The president can only grant an executive clemency. The president can only grant an clemency when there's a verdict from the court. Now when the case is through the judicial process or through proceeding and you get said no, then that's a gross violation of the Constitution. But what Samuka did this interview, he took the whole thing, okay, Mr. President, you are the only solution to this. And that solution potentially can be if you grant executive clemency. He was not mean into the conversation. He was not demonizing. You heard when Stanton asked him whether there was any sort of pro-poll code or that sort of indirect question, whether something wanted in return, as it been reporting here at all CDC one. Even if that was the case, he's not a stupid guy. He's a landman. He said no. And what was really interesting, he did not, and that's who trained military or person with trained security background is. He did not throw the former president under the bus. If you listen to that interview, he said, in fact, I was the one that made that recommendation. So it settles the score for some of us, and all of us have been talking. But the president, the one said he should do this, the president said he should do that. He said, no, in fact, I asked the president. So what he did, he took charge, he took responsibility to whatever he did. But I still see that as a sacrificial lamb for Helen Johnson Sirleaf. But it also served as a deterrent. What he's saying there to literally is like, look, you're working for this government. Are you seeing you as a former minister, you as a former director? If anything tomorrow that you did, should we say because you work for this government, so you just do it on your own, or is that a government? That's why he settles here. So the question here now, Mr. George, before we go.
Yeah.
Now, he already took it out. He made it crystal clear. will the President George Weah, will it come a time that the president will say enough is enough? Or is there some sort of political fearness here within the ruling establishment? Because Samuka, if I listen to him, I've been following him, he got a much greater ambition than why the senatorial thing is. So, and he said there are people that run the president, that brought in this whole thing here and throw it. But he did call Serena C first name. He was very, very much vocal, but he was not mean to the president. Do you think will he be granted executive clemency? Because that's the only way out. Wherever second case are coming, believe me or not, would these people around the president, would they let that president make that decision, that conscious decision?
Mr. So, the president has not been put in a tough spot.
But this one here, he took the whole cap and put it right on the president.
Yeah. Because the court has ruled. And once the court ruled, that judgment stands. The only person that can give you that clemency is the president of the Republic of Liberia. He's the only person invested with that power. Other than that, the court ruling will stand. The court ruling will stand. So what he did, he just said, look, at the end of the day, I respect the process, and the court has ruled, and there's nothing we can do about it. The only person that can do anything about this decision is the president of the Republic of Liberia. He's the only person that cloaked the authority to grant anybody clemency. That's the only person. So he put that board there. On the other hand, I mean, everybody knows, someone got an ambition. You got an ambition. You want to be president. That one know, I mean, you see it. The second one I want to touch here is that Lofa County, 2023 presidential election is coming. And CDC is eyeing Lofa County. So, if the president ran coming to the Brani Samoka, that one they are taking it out of the column again. Because Samoka is not popular, he's not a hero. Steve Zako is there. So, who are they going to put against the two people? I mean, one of them. Who are they going to put against to win the Lofa County? Third, Boakai, that he back here, that one, like they take and it. He ain't got a wrong campaign. So this is the problem now. So the people now who are around the president, what are they seeing? And they're seeing this thing is dragging on, but gradually tension will start building. And we saw it this week. Our people, the reporter, that under the cover of darkness, certain group of people have gone collect their signatures.
Yeah, I got that article that said that there's a petition group that supports him in Lofa. I got that. So in fact, we will be having Steve Zako here, hopefully, this coming Sunday. We're not hearing you.
Hello?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah. Those people have gone on the cover of darkness, collected signature, and presented it to the national legislature, the Senate. No announcement made. People now coming saying that, oh no, the force took our voter card falsely. They didn't tell that. And the other night, one of the program, and I said it. I said, only the Liberian Senate can declare that position vacant, not the election commission. The Senate will have the right to the election commission informing them of the vacancy of that seat. Other than that, the election commission got no authority. But here you see people are going on the cover of darkness, collected 3,000 signatures or so, and presented to the Senate under the cover of darkness. Can you see the trouble? You know, Mr. So that's one thing we're talking, and like people did not live through the war in Liberia. I sometimes wonder why people be doing this kind of thing when someone all live in the war. These are some of the uplifting that led.
Do you think, do you think they are ruling establishment? Is there some political fear for Branning? Because there seems to be some bigger gameplay ahead of Branning Samukat, potentially to seek the higher office of the land. Is there some sort of political fear within the ruling establishment that if someone can, but I think he emptied all that. All people saying that maybe I come there, I'm not going to fight with government. He argued the point. If the government does it right, I will support the government. I will not fight against carrying good roads to Lofa County. I will not fight against quality education. Is that something the government? But that's a good political softball he was playing. And what he was doing indirectly here, the language there was speaking directly to the president. He said, the quote on, I don't have any light. There's no green light for me. There's nothing. No matter of protest, no matter of a talk show host can rescue him now. The only person that can be his savior now is the president of the Republic of Liberia. Do you think that message is not you?
Yeah, and that's our law. You can't do nothing. But the court has set a decision. They have ruled already. So you either abide by what the court said, or you said that. And one thing he said, started asking.
He dropped the bullet for Helen Johnson's leave.
Oh yes, and normally this is why someone was saying, but I knew that someone would not throw the president on the bus, because if you do so, you are damaging yourself more, because she's still living. You don't know what string she can pull. So if you go and say, "Oh, I will throw her in the bus," that means nobody will talk on your behalf. Nobody will go to do anything in the background for you.
Yeah, and you remember we hosted his the group that supports him. We hosted them here. In fact, they sent us some documents here. They also alluded that the city, because there were 2 meetings held, he indirectly sort of mentioned it because that the government did pay over $400,000 with respect.
Yes.
So it means the government was not in isolation. So the government was debriefed, because there were 2 meetings. One meeting was held at Helen Johnson's residence. Another meeting was held at President Weah residence. So one can see between the light there that there was some sort of extensive conversation regarding this, and that the CDC, the incoming government, has agreed on the basis of that they are paid this. So it was not of it was not out of isolation that they just in the middle of their governing process and this whole thing bumped into. Okay, well,
they are mad with him because someone himself said it, that the CDC wanted him to run on the ticket in Lofa, and when he refused, that when they came back and they say, "We got to prosecute you." So you can see that the charges. I'm not saying he did not use the money. Everybody knew he used the money, but after all the negotiation, then when he refused to accept to run on the ticket, they became bad and they said, "Okay, that's the way we'll start him." So that's why I always say this case was politically motivated. If at all, CDC did not approach Bernie Samoka, President Weah the government did not pay a portion of the money, and they just went to prosecute him, I would say, okay. But when all these things, you put it together, you can see that there's some political motive behind it to stop this man saying he didn't go on that side. Okay, we'll use the other side to block him.
Yes, because the question is on what basis that money was paid in the first place? Because if it was something illegal that was done, you shouldn't have paid that money. So
no, but yes, the argument they make, the government make that the soil was vexed and the president did not want any
the soldiers' wives' daughter.
But that was a poor excuse. It was not what it was done for. If this man used the money and you knew you are being breached, that's what I said earlier. If the president did not have enough information, I told the former president, Madam President, I listened to what you said. Let her take office and we'll review the case.
2 meetings, 2 presidential meetings, they're quite enough to know the details and the basis of it. All right, Mr. George, we want to leave here this evening. Thank you so much for being here as usual. The Lpr is not too far, but you know, he will be okay. Yeah, sometimes if you run above your speed limit, then you can pay the price. So I strongly believe he knows what I'm talking about. He was above his speed limit, and that the consequences that the price is paid. Thank you so much, Pa George.
Okay, sir. Have a good night.
All right. Okay, well, folks, that's how we're going to leave it yet for the rest of the evening. So I want to thank you so much for being here. Hopefully this Sunday I will be hosting Senator Steve Zagot. That program should have been last Sunday, but you saw the technical fault here. So we didn't have that program. So I want to thank you so much for being part of tonight conversations. Until then, so we'll be right back here at same time, same network in the coming days. Tomorrow is Thursday. Friday, the Liberal Progressive going to be here as well. And we are hopefully we're going to be here. Hopefully Professor Zavlo going to be here. We're going to be talking all of this. One of the things that we're going to be talking here is this sort of a message, this sort of communication, which is a visual, more or less image that is going on now. What they call subliminal messages. That's the war now is in Liberia in the voice context, which is dangerous for the country, which is dangerous for any state. These messages have the propensity to the influence that comes in form of images. They appears to be true, but they are not true. There is a content behind the image that you read it look at. An image has the propensity to draw our human connection. And so that is what they are doing. So some of us, when we saw these videos, we saw some of the things that were happening. We knew that people that we talked to, this was not real. And it was stupid on the part of somebody who would be part of an opposition to be the one to insinuate to carry this thing here. That is a limited idea ever for a group, a political institution, or somebody that was for them to have deployed. It was stupid. That was not something they were supposed to do. Like that picture after the auditors were killed, where they saw the person's hair being killed. It came from Nigeria. You grab picture from Kenya, and you to brought them, but unfortunately, the government does not have the capacity to contain, to fight this sort of visual images and to determine where they are coming from. I think it's dangerous. It's not good for the country. It doesn't matter who is there now. We have to keep it, because when you do that, you kill the purpose, the substance of your conversation. That's the key. There are a lot of genuine things. Don't get me wrong. Killings is happening in the country. You can make enough argument. You don't have to go East Africa, North Africa, Asia, other parts of the world to grab things. And that was the same thing that the 2018 video was brought into it to say it's happening now concurrently, or it's happening. It is a thing that is happening to right now. So that's another war that is being waged in Liberia. And there's a danger ahead of us to do that. It's wrong. We have a lot of real tangible issues to be talked about. The economy is fragile, and a lot of things ongoing. There can be enough talking point instead of adding trouble over the Bridgewater already. Until then, I'm Alfonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio. Have a pleasant evening. Views, opinion, tweets expressed on this network is not the views and opinions of the management and staff of the Liberia Public Radio, but we do facilitate these hard-core conversations.
Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Hey. Hallelujah. Giving. Hallelujah. God is great. Hallelujah.
All right. Once the views at Sabot, I will always screen them. This is my man Abu Bito for fun. I'm Mr. Alfonso here. So, who party you are for or belong to? What group you supporting? Cause you always in support of the Liberian government. I am saying saying so. Okay, what? That's your view and opinion. No one should. I can disagree with the government. The government is the order of the day, whether you like it or not. The government is the order of the day. What matters is the conversation. If the government does it wrong, we say A. When the government does it right, we say A. When the opposition, whoever, even including ourselves, we should say A. So it's not a matter of group. And I've said this over and over. Probably I need to go in studio to do a song. Those groups, they are they are social clubs. They are not institutions. They are not preserved. So it's unfortunate. Not probably in the future, but I don't see anyone. But what I do support my country in making sure the right thing is done. So, and I think that's what we should need. And we should be authentic, genuine in our conversation. My conversations is not based on sympathy, empathy, on anything. It's based on authenticity in my views and in my opinion. However, you can disagree with my talking point, which of course you have the right, 100% right to do. And that's what I want us to do. And that's what I was talking about, these messages here. Those messages, these subliminal messages, they are dangerous in communication. You don't do that. In fact, the FCC, some 50 years ago, they brought into that here because they are dangerous. They are images. They bring them because images attract or to certain things that evoke emotions, tensions, and all of that. But they are real good things we're supposed to talk about. If you go take some picture that took place, why may you think that people do not know? In fact, there is a system, there's a software, probably they don't know, or most of you don't know. Any image that comes up, there's a place, there's a system, there's a place that you can put it in, it will run through, they will tell you exactly the original author of that. So people taking picture of somebody being kind of really being brutalized in Nigeria and bringing it to Nigeria, because what it did was a sort of skillful thing, considering what was going on in the country to tie it with them. And most of it ended up backfiring. When I listened to that audio of that woman giving that sort of fairy tale, I say it was a nonsense, completed nonsense. It doesn't make no sense. It doesn't add no dip of water. So it's not an issue for or against. It's the issue of saying the truth. And that's the problem most of our people have. And that's where we are in this problem we are in today, because you people support certain individual, and when it does it wrong, you do not have the courage to call them out to say, no, this is wrong. And you have to facilitate those sort of narrative, which itself is a disservice to the country. So what I see happening now, knowing what I know, is sort of a virtual, I mean, not virtual, it's a visual communication in the form of images warfare is going on out in Liberia. And the government has been very, very weak because they're supposed to be proactive on that. To say, okay, the people lie. It's not just all about the people lied. What goes out there, you don't know how it's been to receive on the other end in terms of investors or people who want to go do business or people who want to do anything of the in the country. They're not going to go out there to find out the source of these images. It is you, the government, your responsibility. And I think the opposition should have come out, even if it was one of their own, to condemn that, because that also kills their messaging aspect. So too much of distractions is ongoing. And you need to tell your people to get back on point so that those daily issues or those things that are confronting Liberia will be addressed. Until then, have a pleasant day. So we shouldn't be for, we shouldn't be against, we must be honest to keep the conversations about our country. It doesn't matter this party, but I can say here again, none of these people to represent me. Nobody is advocating for me. These people are advocating for themselves, because at the end of the day, it's all about themselves. They are coming in different forms, in different contexts, and I have that good sight to know exactly what they represent and what they want to do. Until they can change course and do what is right, both the government and the opposition, the country will be good. And I think we need to keep right on point with that. It's not a matter of who for, who against, who you support. If you do it right, I support you. If you do it wrong, I don't, and I will say it. Unfortunately, you can't do me anything. I don't need anybody to guide me when I go into library. I say what is right. I justify my argument. I point out here. Now we now know that the government has not bring to a closure or has not discussed with the family regarding to the death of the late Emmanuel Batent Nyenswat, because we have the video, we have the audio now that the family is speaking out directly for the first time. Until then, have a pleasant evening.
It's the time to come together. Keep Liberia safe forever. So open up your heart, let the unity begin. Love is all we need to make